Hey, there you go, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Let's thank our sponsors. Of course, if you do want to be a sponsor, you can reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com, the new revamped thebaileyshow.com. Love to have you on board. We now offer SEO help. So if you're looking for an SEO, we got somebody. Same guy that did the website, just the G. GE, by the way. All right, thanks to Inspect All Pest Services, our title sponsor for Podcasting Course 3, October 12th, Tannery Road, Beaufort, Georgia. Get your tickets, distinctgrace.com, also thebaileyshow.com, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. They also take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services based in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding area. The Mad Dog, Manny Aurora, who I think is going to join us this episode. Matter of fact, litigates all over the country. Based out of Georgia, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. TheAuroraLawFirm.com. Dr. David Markwell. He is so good and so nice, so sweet, so helpful. MarkwellTherapy.com. 3 locations in Georgia. One across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains and East Cobb. Marietta near the Square in McKaysville outside of Blue Ridge, but he does virtual sessions. That's how the good doctor and I talk. You can email him, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com, and then FBC Insurance. Servicing Alabama, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. Great, perfect for us new homeowners looking to reshop your current insurance policies. That's what we did. They just crushed what we were paying before. 888-308-1841. Or email them, info@fbcinsuranceservices.com. We can get a quote online, fbcinsuranceservices.com. 5-star service. Shop over 35 A-rated companies with FBC Insurance. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS. That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
All right, there it is, episode 221 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey, right there, still in Europe. It is the iron-fisted one, Chuck Lunsford. Hello, Chuck.
What's up, buddy? I got a better office this time. So, hopefully the backdrop's a little better.
No, it looks badass. And this episode's a Freebae episode, so you can watch the entire episode, listen to the entire episode on the Bailey Show YouTube channel, at The Bailey Show. At first glance, I swear to God, I thought those were dicks on the wall.
They're dolphins, man.
But I'm doing 10 million different things in this new studio, and I just glance up and I'm like, oh, he moved spots. And I was like, why are there dicks on the wall? Like, where in Europe are you right now?
You know me. If there's a hotel with dicks on the wall, I'm going to find it. Okay.
Who would not want to stay at a hotel with dicks on the wall? I mean, I've worked for companies as dicks have for bosses. Why not stay at a hotel with dicks on the wall, right? Makes sense.
There you go. I bet you they've stayed here.
What is that? Is that the pool in the background that I see?
Yeah, man. The water park behind me. I'm right next to a pirate ship. I'm still holding the smallest microphone you've ever seen in your life. I feel kind of like, what's his name? Bob Barker. Remember The Price is Right with the long thing?
Dick Barker. Yep. Bob Barker. Yeah. The penis microphone. Yeah.
He was the porn star.
That famous, like he was the only guy that ever used that I know of. What hotel are you staying in?
The Jake and the Neverland Pirates themed hotel.
Is it on Disney property?
No, it's actually a brand I've never heard of. They have like Dream Castle. This one's actually, I think the name of this one's called like the Explorers Club or something like that. But dude, it's crazy. It's chaos. There's bunk beds in our room. That's all we have. But we're going to a kick-ass condo downtown Paris tomorrow for our last moments there. So we will be out of here eventually. Good.
I want to ask you a very personal question.
Yeah.
If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. but I am curious, and I know other people have to be curious. You, your wife, 3 small children, Europe, 2 weeks. How much did that run you?
Everything without food and entertainment was right at 10,000. And then what?
Holy shit. That's a lot.
Well, yeah, but I mean, dude, the Disney cruise is 8,000. So that's what I kind of like got out of, because I was like, I'm not doing a Disney cruise. So it was 10,000 for all that. We've been using one card since we got here, and we are at 3,100 since we got here. So I mean, when it's all said and done, you're looking at about 14,500, 15,000 is what it's going to cost. But we only take one big vacation a year.
So an even more important question that I know everyone's thinking as well is, how much dip did you take?
12 cans and 2 cans of Zen.
Yeah. Are you going to make it?
I have 3 cans of dip left and 2 cans of Zen left, and I have 5 days left over here.
Cut it tight. Cut it.
I'm starting to double dip, man. I'm starting to take it out and put it back in the can, and I'll get that one in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, you just start.
Yeah.
I got to do what I got to do. I don't want to start smoking, you know?
I wonder if we can, if Tim with Distinct Grace can do a coupon code for Podcast Emporius 3, is if you promise to bring me a can of Skull long cut mint or Copenhagen long cut mint, which I've started to dip and I like a lot, that you'll get like $5 off your ticket, because it's so expensive. Like $10 a can. So I have to get it trafficked from Georgia, just like when I was in California, had to get it trafficked from Reno, you know? So like when I go up to take bees to Alabama here in the next couple of weeks, I gas up every quarter tank, and I just stop and I give me a sleeve of this and give me a sleeve of this. I'm like $500 in a dip by the time I come back. You know,
I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting yelled at to get out of this area, this beautiful area. Let me move over here. I'm still with you though.
Show me who's yelling at you. Can I talk to him? Hello. Hey, why? We're doing a podcast. What's your name?
Okay. You want to say hi?
Hi. What's your name?
Bye. What's your name? He doesn't want to tell you his name.
Ask his name. What's his name?
What's your name? No English, he said.
What does he speak? I can speak it. What does he speak? Go back to him.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He's busy. He's working.
How did he kick you out if he doesn't speak English?
See, because look, it's the entire area. It's like a big restaurant area.
Just tell him
he
fucking hour. Saying we're busy. We're doing shit.
I'm going right over here. I can still do it, man. I'm still with you. I just got to find another location. Ooh, this is a nice location. There's more dicks on the wall.
Oh,
look at all those. Look at all those dicks on the wall.
Yeah, big dick in. I think Manny's going to join us here in a little bit, because I didn't know if you were. I thought that I was going to be alone. I was like, I need some company. But let me talk about your froze, by the way. See, you can't walk around the hotel or you're going to freeze. You're going to freeze. You got to stop. You just sit right there and get kicked out of that area. All right.
Oh, okay. I'll just get kicked out of this area too.
Keep getting kicked out of places, Chuck, because you keep freezing every place you go. Are you in the lobby of the elevators?
No, I'm at the VR. The VR stand where they do like virtual reality. So I'm here now.
I appreciate you doing the podcast while you're in Europe. That really means a lot. But just for future reference, when you do this, you should get it set so you're not just trying to find a spot. And I don't say that to
no, there's no spots. It's like a huge resort with that, like 5,000 children everywhere. So I have to do this at night.
Go to the manager and say, hey, look, I'm broadcasting. I need a spot. I'll promote your hotel. I'll promote your social media. Can you give me a room that's quiet for a couple hours? Blah, 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 blah. And they might even get you and say, hey, look, I'll give, they might give you a free dessert or something if you say that you're going to. That's plug
the one thing I've ran into is everybody looks at you and says, no English, no English. And I'm like, dude, you're at a hotel. Like, how do you not speak English?
They speak English. They're fucking.
I know.
They're all fucking.
So anyway.
So I want to talk about this house. I want to talk about this move.
hmm
4 moves, 1 year. This is the last move of my life. Mark it. Okay. 2 peers, Josh and Sheila, they came to visit. That was very nice. Like, I don't know if you're a listener, and I've met Josh before. I mean, we're not like close. We've only met, I think, one other time. And if you're in town, you can fucking come over. I don't care. Reach out to me. It's all good. I mean, like my neighbor thought that was weird. So I'm a big neighbor guy, right? And you can never gauge your neighbors until you move in, right? So, our neighbors down the street are the perfect neighbors. The perfect neighbor. So, Andy and his wife Bev, and like he let me borrow his golf cart the other night. And so we're driving around, going down by the lake. This dude is awesome. He's from New York. So I love New Yorkers. So good neighbor. Neighbor to my side, like right next to us to the left, I guess there's heat. Like in the past with people, the former owners and stuff. I'm getting all the juicy stuff now. And so the guy, they're just different. Like I'm not going to judge him because I don't have any problems with him. And I hope I don't have any problems with him. But, let me bring Manny in here. Hey, Manny.
Hey, how are you guys?
Chuck's in Europe, by the way.
Wow, lucky
What's
him.
up? What's up, Manny? How are you, buddy?
Oh, geez, great. So I'm talking about this.
Doing okay.
I'm talking about this house that I bought, Manny. And,
Okay.
and so, the dynamic of the neighbors. Are you friends? You're friends with all your neighbors, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived here for 23 years, so yeah.
Right. And they've been the same neighbors for all that time?
For the most part, yeah, there's been a couple of changes here and there.
Have you ever had any heat with your neighbors? They probably don't want to fuck with a lawyer, but have you ever had any issues with a neighbor?
No, I stay away from that. If there's any issues, it's always with my wife. But I don't think we've ever had any issues. The yards are fine. The HOA is pretty strong here, so no problems.
Chuck, you ever any problems with your neighbors?
Not here. I mean, I had a guy that kept letting his dog crap in my lawn, so I threw like 4 bags of dog shit over the fence into his front yard, and he never did it again. It was very immature, and I felt bad because I did it at night, so it was like on his sidewalks and everything. But he never messed with me again about it.
Yeah.
But no, not any real heat. No.
So I never want any problems with my neighbors ever. Right. And I've never, for the most part, I mean, as an adult, had any issues with any neighbors. California was the first time that I had a problem with my neighbor. And it was this crazy woman that lived across the street. Now, we knew she was crazy from day one, but who am I to judge? That's who she is. And it wasn't until like we were about to leave that something happened, and it like totally, she reached out to Rachel and she said something about our daughter, like how our daughter was promiscuous, like just like this bullshit, all this like totally not true, not my daughter kind of stuff. And I was like, what the shit? Where is this coming from? Now, granted, this woman does a lot of drugs and I think she's dying of cancer. So maybe she's not in her right mind, but she was crazy. So like and she still texts us. I had to block her because I'm like, we're not friends. I don't like you. That was my only experience with a bad neighbor. So we get here, and as soon as we move in, like we literally just moved in, I see, everybody's kind of nosy and who are the new people and this and this and that. It's like middle school rules. So I walk across the street, introduce myself. The lady right across the street from us, she looks like The Rock's mom. She's like Samoan, lives there by herself. Very sweet. She hangs out in her driveway by herself for whatever reason. Very, very nice lady. There is a former pro ball player that lives on our street. He used to play for the Royals back in the 80s. Have not met him yet. I think there's a couple that they're dying of something. I don't think I've met them. We got Andy and Bev. They're going to be my go-to. They're my dogs. These people are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then we got these neighbors like directly to our left. And I'm starting to hear rumors that they've caused some commotion over the years. I don't know if it's true. I'm not judging. I just know that the guy doesn't like fences and fake plants. Okay. And isn't that kind of a weird thing to know about somebody that you don't know? Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd? Manny?
I mean, yeah.
A little odd to know that kind of information, right? Just to kind of bust out of the gates because I have a fence and fake plants.
But you have an
Okay.
HOA, right?
It's a gray area. There is HOA. We pay into it, not a lot. Supposedly, moving forward, we're going to be paying more into it, but it's not like a gated community. It is a community, but it's like a small community. You know, it's got like a sign, a nice big brick sign, and it's got a guy on a horse and stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
What's not a lot when you say not a lot, like HOA? Because I think average is like between $500 and $1,000 a month for a decent HOA. What are you paying?
I think $8.
No, no, you're not.
Yeah, it's like $8. Last year it was like $8. I think they paid $106 for the year. I think this year it's supposed to be like $300.
Okay.
A pool
That's-
or a tennis court or anything?
No, no pool, no tennis court. I don't know what they do. I think it just takes care of the sign with the guy on the horse.
Well, you signed a contract when you bought the house for the HOA rules and regulations. So there's, paint issues or how long your grass can be. So that's all going to be protected under the HOA.
Yeah, I'm going to mow my own grass moving forward. Anyway, I'll get that. So these neighbors, right? Listen, so the people that own this house prior to us, tremendous people. Like I wish they were still here. One of the reasons we bought this house was because of them, because we liked them so much. I felt it was my duty to buy this house because they were so nice. Like, is that an odd thing to say? Have you ever heard that before?
I've not heard that before. I usually buy because of price and location and stuff like that.
Well, location's okay. It's 8 minutes from the poker room. But it's I'd never in a million years thought that I would live in the city of Deltona. I know it's growing, it's getting bigger and all that kind of stuff. Beautiful house. Love this house. I mean, you've been to my house. Both of you have been to my house, my old house in Atlanta. This on par, if not better. Just it's that badass, right? Studio's getting built out this week. Jeremiah fucking Sample's going to be here. So next week, if you're watching the Freebae show on our YouTube channel at the Bailey Show, this will all look different in the background. And I'll give you a tour. I'll have my 360 camera. I'll give you a tour. It's going to be really cool. Anyway, so one side of the backyard is one of those white vinyl fences. Okay. And I have not yet met that neighbor, but I heard they're cool. They got a bunch of dogs that I think bite each other a lot. You can hear them. And then on the other side of the backyard, there's one of those black metal fences, that you can see through. Okay. And it's not as tall. And I guess they did that because those neighbors said that they didn't like fences, which I thought was very nice of them to do. It's a nice looking fence. Those black fences, those black metal fences, very nice. But we have 5 dogs. So they're just going to sit there and yap the entire time unless we block it off. So I priced out doing the white vinyl fence there, and it wasn't in our budget for right now. And they just put this fence up. So what I did was I took black plastic chicken wire mesh and put it on the bottom and then covered that with lattice with fake ivy. And it looks beautiful. Looks so cool. Have you seen the fake ivy stuff? It was the stuff that we had at our house in Atlanta around the hot tub. Looks really nice. Looks really cool. Looks real. This dude comes over and he says to me, we're talking. I'm like, hey, how you doing, buddy? And he's like, good. And he comes over and he says to me, this is as we were talking and we're into the conversation. He goes, 2 things that I hate the most in life: fences and fake plants. And I looked at him and I said, is that the most passive aggressive compliment I've ever heard? And I guess if I were to say that to you, would you take that as I was being a dick or being defensive?
Yeah, no, wait. So you actually said that to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what he said was he's being a dick. I mean, you don't just come over and say that to somebody unless you want to start some type of issue. So he's not, I don't even think he's being passive aggressive. Manny, tell me if I'm wrong. That's aggressive, right?
Well, he's just making a statement, letting you know where he stands. I don't know, unless you had a demeanor about him to make it aggressive, like, hate that it's just some guy just trying to be a wise ass
Yeah.
and
Well,
just say, you're so stupid for having a fence and a fake plants, I guess.
yeah. I was like, why is it your business? Why do you care? So anyway, after I said that, we haven't seen or heard from him since.
Well, that's good. And why do you have 5 dogs? In most cities, that's considered a kennel if you have more than 4. But that's another issue. So you might be getting a citation soon.
It's just white trash, Manny. It's just white trash.
What are you, a fucking lawyer?
Well, also, you can't put up a fence and that stuff if you have an HOA without approval from the HOA board first. So there's also that problem.
White trash. White trash.
$8 a month. I don't think they have a board. All right. They might have a person. I don't think they have a board. We're not living in Manny world. Okay. This is a little bit,
All right.
Manny. You just got to dumb yourself down for this conversation. I'm sorry. I'm a podcaster. I'm not an attorney. I have fake plants and I love them. I love them. But here's the thing. So I'm going to try to get all this stuff out because I'm very, very proud of myself. I am not a do-it-yourselfer guy, but I try. I attempt. I get an A for effort, but usually I screw it up and I got to hire somebody to fix it. But I try. So let me tell you something, and I'm going to quiz you guys to see what you would do. I had a hose that came with the house on the spigot that I couldn't get off. Absolutely impossible to get off. Manny, I'll start with you. What do you do?
When you say impossible to get off, even with the wrench and all that kind of stuff, impossible to get off?
Yeah. And what would you use? What would you use to try to get it off?
You just use the Allen wrench and open it up to whatever it is, or you can go with some pliers,
Okay.
things of that nature. Plus, there's lubricants you can put on there because the thing's probably been on there forever. So it's if it's hot down there in Orlando area, I guess that's where you are.
Yeah.
It may have expanded, which makes it even harder to get off.
Okay. Chuck?
I mean, I'm gonna go kind of with Manny here, but I don't know what it's called. The plumber's wrench, right? That Mario carries around because he's a plumber. That wrench that you can open and close it like a vice wrench. What's it
Is
called?
that an Allen wrench or is that called something else?
An Allen wrench, you're not using.
I think the Allen wrench. Yeah, the Allen wrench is just like a
Oh,
L.
it's already built in. Yeah, I'm talking about the one where you turn the little thingy and it gets bigger and smaller.
Those are called vice.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I would use.
Okay, you use vice. But what if it fails? What do you do?
Well, you're not going to cut it off. You're going to go get the what's that stuff called? It's you spray it on stuff, not the degreaser, but it you spray it on and it just eats away at all the rust.
No, you guys failed. You guys are all failing. Hold on, let me give you a buzzer here. You all failed.
Oh, let's hear it.
So I didn't know what to do either. So I go onto YouTube and I find Tom the plumber. Okay, this guy's amazing. And what he told me to do was get my vice grips, which I already had, a flathead screwdriver, okay, and a saw, a saw, fucking handsaw thing. And so is that guy vacuuming behind you, Chuck? Yeah, that's why you're muted. All right, so you cut it at a 45-degree angle. You cut the top of the hose, which you're trying to turn off, at a 45-degree angle, but you don't go too deep where you cut the threads. And you cut it enough so it opens. Then you take the screwdriver and you pry it just a little bit. Then you take the vice grips and turn it around. Oh my God, it worked. I was so happy. And for me to do that was just next level stuff. Like I might get into plumbing. I mean, that was
what did you use to cut the aluminum?
The saw.
What saw?
Did you cut the aluminum or did you cut the actual rubber pipe?
No, cut the metal. The saw, the freaking.
Which one?
So you have to go get a special saw to cut the aluminum because there's not.
It's the same saw you cut drywall with. It's a hacksaw. A hacksaw.
Oh.
Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. Hacksaw. But you got to do it at a 45-degree angle, and you got to be very, very careful so you don't cut the threads. And I was very careful, and I did it perfectly, and it came off, and I'm screaming in the backyard, Rage, you got to come out here. And I wish I would have videotaped the whole thing. Could I shared with the world? Tom the plumber on YouTube. Look him up. This guy's amazing.
Did you try the tactic that me and Manny told you?
Yeah, of course I vice gripped it and tried to turn it. I tried to hit it like you would do like a pickle jar, to loosen it up, like where you hit the side of it. None of that stuff worked. I didn't get whatever Bruce Manny's talking. He's full of shit. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
There's a goo that takes care of the rust stuff out there. But anyway,
Thank
what? You for backing me up, Chuck.
Yeah. You know what, man?
I'm glad you didn't cut your fingers off.
That's the other thing. You need gloves. You need gloves. I had gloves on. You need gloves. I had gloves. Next time that I have this, I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to give the phone to the Home Depot guy and I'm going to ask you to ask him to give me the goo that takes it off, because I'm not asking him that question.
No, it's called break free. It's called break free. Break free.
No, it's not. That's made up.
Yeah, it's called break free. You just spray it on there, wait 20 minutes, and it breaks free. That's what you should have used.
And then he could have used that hose again.
Exactly.
It's all
the hose.
Oh, yeah, the hose is done. Yeah, I had to throw the hose away. I didn't need the hose. I bought my special bionic metal hose. I've seen on TV. I love those damn things. Those are pretty good. So I had that. Off Facebook Marketplace, I bought overhead storage things, that you put into the ceiling. You know what I'm talking about?
Oof. In the garage?
You're supposed to put them in the garage, but I've got this huge shed in the backyard.
Oh, God. How long do those take you to install?
Not long at all. 3 hours, maybe.
And they're probably all wrong.
They're
just going to fall off because he screwed
terrible.
them into the drywall or something. So they're just going to fall as soon as there's some weight on that thing.
He's like, Rach, we got any pillows we can store up here? I got lots of room to store pillows. Nothing over 3 pounds.
I'm gonna ask my watch to come save me when the damn thing falls. She's gonna be like, how do I help? I'm gonna be like, oh, Manny and Chuck said to use break free. Just spray that on me and slide me out. No. I did good. This dude I met on Facebook Marketplace, he had 2 of them, real cheap. They're not the nice ones. They're kind of like, I think, cheaper ones, older ones. But I just put it bolt up. There's no drywall. It's all wood. So I just put it right up into the stud and it's hanging. Now, granted, I'm going to get a chain and back it up just in case, because I'm going to be doing all my woodworking in the shed. So that's that. Oh, here's the other thing. This is something I do need help. Maybe you guys know, doubt it. But maybe somebody listening knows. So unfortunately in Spotify, they took away the interaction questions. Like that's where I was asking questions like for Manny and stuff like that. You can't do that anymore. Now you can only do polls and ask yes or no. So anyway, here's the question. And now I don't know if this is true. This is what my wife told me. So we have a septic tank. Okay. Can I spit my dip in the toilet to go into the septic tank?
I don't think so. I mean, you can't have any. Well, yeah, wait. You just want to add another line.
Oh, you're cutting in and out. Manny, you answer the question. You got to stop moving around, Chuck. Your internet's freezing up.
He's on a roll. Let's see if we get him back.
Yeah, just go ahead and answer the question. He's on slow motion.
So you're worried about putting your dip in the toilet, which will then go in the tank, I guess, in the back for your septic system. And is that going to mess it up?
So she says that whatever chemical they put into the septic, like with the waste, let's be mature adults, the waste that's in there, it dissolves it and does what it's supposed to do. So it's like every 2 or 3 years, you don't have to get your septic tank pumped or whatever they do. But chewing tobacco, on the other hand, whatever that stuff is, it doesn't work with that. That's what she.
Right. So it doesn't dissolve and it's building up and it's going to clog up your pipes.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you're not supposed to put like butt wipes and stuff like that they say that you can get at the store. I don't know what the medical term for it is, but you see articles about that. The wipes will clog up everything, even sewer lines.
Yeah.
And I guess dip is sort of doing the same thing, that the chemicals that are in your septic system aren't going to be able to dissolve it, so it's going to back up and cause problems. Because you know how you have the pipes off your septic systems, when it dissolves, it shoots into your garden, and that whole area is super green. You know, around that. That's the problem, and it also depends on how big your septic system is. If you're dipping a lot, if that's going to make a big difference, or how thick your little pipes are going into the septic system, so the dip doesn't build up like plaque on the pipes.
Are you making this up? Because you sound like you know what you're talking about.
No, we've had to go through 2 septic systems back there. It cost a fortune because at our house, the septic system was very old and it backed up and flooded sewage into us. We had to go get a new one. And it turns out that there's all these new rules and things like that for septic stuff. But anyway, there's a tube that goes into your septic system and it's got to be a certain size. And then off the septic, which looks like a giant, I don't know, like a coffin maybe. There's like pipes that go off of that so the waste can shoot into the rest of the yard as it gets dissolved. And so if you've ever been near a septic system in somebody's backyard, it's like the greenest grass you'll ever see. That's out there. So as long as your pipes are big and all that stuff, you can do. Otherwise, the dip is going to, like your arteries in your heart, it's going to cause plaque because it's going to collect. And then you're going to have a lot of problems with stuff getting backed up.
You're like Chris Farley in Wayne's World. You're like the security guard that knows everything. Like that. I'd never in a million years. Like
it took me $20,000 to figure that one out. Trust me, it's very expensive to take out the trees and put the drain field out and all that stuff. And I did not do it myself. We hired a company with a big truck and it's just covered in poop. And you know, they stick the tube and all that shit back. No pun intended stuff in there. Yeah. It's disgusting.
So if you need a defense attorney, the AuroraLawFirm.com. But if you need education on septic systems, the AuroraLawFirm.com. They are really one-stop shop. They do everything. So don't be surprised if you don't get some two peers stopping by your office and asking you septic questions now.
And we can take stuff off a hose without shaving it down.
Yeah.
So we've got some minor plumbing we can fix too.
You put your Aurora Law Firm sticker on some break free cans and give them out to everybody. Consultation. So anyway, I believe her, you know, why would she lie to me? Right. So I'm like, okay. And she was very sweet about it. Like how she pitched it to me. She's like, we're going to have a, you know, and I thought it was kind of like one of those, like, we need to get you to stop doing this and that kind of thing. And that might be it down the road. But she was like, so at night before I go to bed, we get in bed and we watch television, and I'll usually put a dip in, and I have a special cup that I use and I wash out. I'm a very clean dipper. I've been doing that for ever, years, decades, same thing, same ritual, same, you know, I keep doing it. Now I can't because I can't flush it, and you're not going to pour it out in the trash. It's disgusting. So now I have to use a bottle, which I normally do, like I'm doing right now, right? So I have to use a bottle in the car, and I have to spit it out there, and then I have to throw the bottle in the trash can. And it's just fucked up my schedule. Like my whole world has been flipped upside down because that is not my normal ritual at night. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
So why, who taught you? I mean, because I've been dipping for a long time. You know, granted, pouches are way worse because my plumber did tell me, like, you can never flush pouches. Like, pouches will destroy, they'll clog up your toilet. You'll have all kinds of issues. But you chew loose. Why would you want to dump it out and reuse a cup? What are you living in, like the Wild West or something? Like, it's called a spittoon. It's gross. Why don't you use like a disposable can or bottle like all the time? How does Rachel stay married to you? That's so gross.
Why don't you mind your own business?
I just envision you with like a big jug in your lap and you're like watching the you know, just
like, why does that make your life more difficult? I mean, whether you do it in a bottle and in the morning you can throw it out, or a cup where you pour out. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's all that sophisticated of a system that would screw up your life.
Because this is what I have to do. Let me show you what I have to do now. Instead of just spitting it in the cup and then pouring it in the toilet, this is what I have to do. Let me show you. For those that are watching on the YouTube channel, here's my little bottle, right? I'm good at this. Well, watch me screw this up. So just watch. Roll it.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
You could just get one of those bottles with a bigger mouth, like, you know, all the fancy water drinks and stuff.
Yeah, Core water has a big hole.
So I got to do that. You know, yeah, well, we have some of them, but we got a lot of water bottles. You know, so I got to use that. And then,
Oh God. So when you pour it in the toilet, because I've done that before, it splashes out onto the seat or onto the rim of the toilet. What do you do?
Oh, I don't do. Did you all see my wife come up here? I just saw a drink. Did she just pop in here?
No.
You know she was here. She's like a ninja. Wow, that was awesome. Thanks, babe. Just poured. I got a nice little drink there. So anyway, so that's the dip thing. What else can I tell you? Oh, so I bought some new TVs. Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, I haven't even finished the story.
I know, but
Put them up
dude,
yourself.
he buys so many TVs, Manny. Every time he
Is he a
moves, he buys
hoarder?
new he just buys new TVs every time he moves. And he moves like every month. So he's
Yeah.
got like 20 TVs brand new, and then people leave him TVs. He's like Best Buy.
Bailey buy. So the TVs that are big TVs that we had in California, we left with the house. They bought them from us, as part of the deal of the house. So when we moved to Orlando, I bought a 75-inch TV for the living room, and we're going to put that in the living room here, right? So we got a nice big TV. And Bees is taking 2 TVs to college, so we're going to be able to utilize most of our TVs. But in our bedroom, Rach wanted a bigger TV. This is her, not me. I was happy with a 50-inch in the bedroom, but she wants a 65-inch in the bedroom. So I took advantage of Amazon Prime Day, and they had a good deal. Those Amazon Fire TVs are really good, by the way, if you're wondering. Good TVs. And you could Bluetooth them with speakers and all kinds of stuff. They're pretty cool. So they had a deal on a 65-inch QLED that I bought. Get it delivered to the house. And this is when 2P or Josh was visiting. He came by. He was going to help me. So 65-inch and up, usually the wall mounts are a little bit bigger. Get the wall mount up. You're always worried. You're not worried necessarily about finding the studs, but you're always worried that with a TV that size or bigger, that you put it up in the right place so that the TV is not going to be too low or too high, right? Get the TV out of the box, put the brackets on, put the TV up. It is perfect. Absolutely perfect. A professional could not have done a better job of hanging this television. Go to plug in the TV, get it all set up, all lines. There's a crack through the entire television. After all that, I've never, ever had that happen before. Total fail. So that was one of the, it sucked.
Did you do that when you mounted it?
Mm-mm.
Are you sure?
Yeah. How could I have done that when I mounted it? I mean, unless I never even touched the front of the television.
I had what is it called? DirecTV came out and mounted one of my 65-inch TVs, and it was hanging in the wall. And he said, "Hey, I got to drill through your concrete next to the TV to run the line." And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm watching him do it, and he got through the concrete. And when he did, he just like it gave way, like all the pressure he had on it, and his right elbow clipped my TV. And I was like, that didn't sound good. And I went and hit the power button for the first time, and same thing, dude. Right down the middle, huge crack. And he was like, he was just like, "Oh my God." But I mean, Best Buy took it back, and I got it returned and got it replaced. But I can see that happening with you. You know what I mean? Not that you're not handy, but I can see that being
I've mastered the wall mount thing. Like ever since I had to go to the emergency room in California when I sliced my arm open, now mastered the wall mount thing. That was a bad experience. That bolt went right to my arm, sliced it open, almost fainted, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So let me ask, Manny, are you a do-it-yourselfer guy, like around the house? Do you hang your televisions and all those types of things? You probably don't. You probably just hire out, don't you?
My wife shockingly does a lot of that stuff because she likes it. Drywall mounting. She's a professional potter, all that. My special skill. Oh yeah, she loves doing all that shit. And she does it all herself. But my only special skill is going to the Home Depot parking lot and getting some help.
Oh, so you go and you pick up the illegals out front?
Well, we ask for ID, right? And their work permits and stuff before we do it. That's the answer I'm giving you.
Do you know that those guys that are standing out there, those labor workers, They won't work. They won't work for less than $15 an hour. This was years ago. So in Roswell, Georgia, right up from our house, like if you're going to downtown Roswell and you take a right, there's like a Subway, there's like a cell phone. They're redoing all that now. I think they're putting in a.
It's completely gone. It's very high end stuff now.
Oh, okay. But you know what I'm talking about, right there on the corner,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So they used to have the labor guys there all the time. And when I was redoing my house in Atlanta, I went up and would pick them up. And, I got a truck. I was like, just hop in the back. I don't know you. And let's negotiate. I'll give you $10 an hour. You're sitting here. You're not doing anything. It's better than nothing. These motherfuckers were like, no, we want $15 an hour. And they wanted to ride in the car with me.
Okay.
I'm
going to work on your negotiating skills. We've been paying like 100 or 150 for a day plus a McDonald's, Big Mac meal. That's usually the rate. And the guys work really hard. You can't find anybody at a company for $15 an hour or less. That's just impossible.
I agree, but I wanted a deal. That's the other thing is I bought them lunch, right? I had coolers with water and stuff like that. I got them subs. They don't eat that. They either bring their own food and they cook it themselves, like they've got a hot plate and everything, or they want tacos. That's what they want. They want nothing else. They did not eat my subs. I had probably about a good $22.68 go to waste because of those labor workers left those Subway subs in the sub. They were like, no, we don't want subs. I was like, what are you talking about? I got your free lunch. You're like, no, we want tacos. I was like, that's bullshit. Just because you're from Mexico, like if I would have gotten you tacos, then you would have called me racist. I got you subs, and I even got you the American sub just so I could show that you're part of this country. They're like, oh, we want tacos. I was like, if I were to do that, I'd be racist. But now you're telling me you need tacos or you're not going to work at my house? What kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah, but they got their own food, so why do you care? For me, they always asked for McDonald's, just like that was part of the deal. They wanted a Big Mac meal supersized.
I did not know.
So it was done. That's what they always do.
So I'll have more stuff about the house moving forward, but I've got some other things I want to bring up. Manny, I reached out to you about this. So I can talk about the car wreck, right? I've already talked about it, but I can talk about it, right?
Yeah, it's your privilege. You can talk about whatever you want.
Okay. I know the girl's name too.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't say her name.
You could. There's nothing illegal about it. It's probably on the public record of the police report.
Well, I'm going to Chuck.
Or you can just use the initials.
Okay. So, Chuck, it's really loud. Chuck, it's really loud. Really loud. So, my daughter was up in Atlanta a month or so ago. She's driving her car. Car in front of her stops abruptly. She taps the back of it, and police were called. She did everything right, other than call me, but she did everything right, and have her dash came up. Cop shows up, does a police report. Cop even says, I don't know why he called me. Jokingly. Of course, he's there. That's what he does. But he's like, I don't know why he called me. No one was hurt. The woman in front said she wasn't hurt. The guy in front said he wasn't hurt. My daughter, thank God, was not hurt. There was no damage done to either car. Okay. As soon as I found out about this, which was shortly after, I knew there was going to be a problem. I just felt it. And so, lo and behold, I get a call from my insurance company, and they say they filed a claim. She's claiming that she was injured. I'm like, this is bullshit. So I'm talking to this insurance guy, and he goes, it happens all the time. We just deal with it. I'm like, you don't pay these people out, do you? He's like, most of the time we do. Like, are you kidding me? So a person just has to say that they were injured and you pay them money? He goes, well, they have to go to a doctor and say that they're injured, but that's real easy. You can go into like a doc in a box and just say, I'm injured. And the doctor will prescribe you something, and it's that simple. You don't have to have broken bones or head trauma or anything like that. And I'm like, wow. I go, I guess. I mean, if you can sleep at night, that's your thing. That's how you're going to make money, whatever. So I thought it was over. Then he reaches back out to me. The insurance guy reaches back out to me, says, so this is escalated and we're looking into it even further, you know? So I guess she wants a lot of money. That's kind of how I took it. So they're going to play hardball. I'm like, good, go get her. And he asked for more pictures. So I sent more pictures, you know, I mean, it's the same pictures, just more of the same pictures. And then I get a certified piece of mail. My daughter gets a certified piece of mail from a very high powered attorney nationwide, I think worldwide now, and who I've known since the 90s. He's based out of Orlando. And it really, the letter, all it said, Manny, I haven't told you this part, all the letter said was, make sure you please don't delete any text messages, any phone calls, any pictures off your phone. And then I guess I'm assuming they're suing her, my daughter, 19 years old, or me. I don't know. I don't know how this works. I've never dealt with such an asshole before like this. So I was talking to Manny. I'm like, Manny, what's the next step? I mean, I know you don't do personal injury, right? You don't do that all that much.
Sometimes if I help out, but this is minor traffic stuff, isn't. But what you're talking about is a standard letter. They'll ask you for your insurance information. It's just a cut and paste in every case. And the famous lawyer you're talking about isn't actually doing any law. It's they have franchises, and so they've got lawyers, you know, doing that. And then the other one's a spoliation letter saying don't destroy any evidence that could be used. It's just standard stuff. If the medical records don't ferret out what they are, there's going to be no lawsuit there. Most people just do it as a nuisance claim. They'll get a couple $1,000s paid out. The lawyer will take a third. And nobody's getting rich off any of this stuff, but you can make a couple of bucks if you wanted to go through the hassle.
All right. So what do I do to retaliate?
Nothing. Your insurance company has to pay for your insurance defense lawyer, and they take care of all of it. And if you get a deposition notice, your daughter will. You don't know anything about it. You just answer honestly, and you're going to win the case. If it's truly there's no damage or there's nothing out there.
No. I want retribution. I want pain and suffering. If they're going to pull this, and they're going to buck the system, and they're going to do this stuff, this is why we have so many problems. It's because of people like this. And I want them to learn a lesson. So I want to.
All you can do is file a countersuit, but use your lawyer to do it. The problem is you shouldn't get fired up about something like this. It's not going to cost you anything. The lawyers will take care of whatever. You just have to answer a few questions and, you know, give them the photos and those kinds of things. So yes, you can get upset and you can say society is going to hell because this is happening to you, but you know what? It happens. It's part of the system. That's why you have insurance. Otherwise we wouldn't need it, right?
Yeah, I understand that. But why I get fired up is because there's people like this that exist. I mean, these are the people that are draining the system. I mean, they're horrible, horrible people, and people like this need to be held accountable. That is my biggest, like, if when I die and whoever gives my eulogy, I just want somebody to say that Jason Bailey liked to hold people accountable for their actions. I just think that the people like this should be taught a lesson. They shouldn't get away with it. They definitely shouldn't be getting $1,000 or a couple $1,000s. They should be getting sued, if not go to jail or lose a thumb. I mean, that is horrible.
But that's up to your insurance company to do it because it's the insurance company's money. I mean, they know how the game's played and they could fix it however they wish through the insurance adjusters. But it's just sort of how it's set up because most of the plaintiffs' attorneys used to work for insurance companies or insurance defense firms. And so everybody knows it. But like I said, nobody's getting rich off any of this stuff. It's just the cost of doing business. And frankly, if you're mad at anybody, it should be the lawyers that they shouldn't be bringing a case if it's frivolous. Everybody wants to get paid. If something happened to you even a little bit, you'd be on the exact end spectrum yelling at me, I want blood. That guy nicked my, perfect Corvette or something like that, and it's ruined. The value's down. I want to be paid this. It's the lawyers that are filing the stuff, but they know the insurance company does this because it's just built into the budget. It's not draining any resources. The insurance companies have gazillions of dollars. And whether you have an accident or not, your rates go up every year. It's just how it is.
Would I get in any trouble if I find this person, which is I've already done, and had them on the show and interview them?
Well, you wouldn't get in any trouble. Just don't physically assault them and it's fine.
Oh, no. I don't want to physically assault anyone. I just want to know why they're doing it.
Yeah, call them up and you can ask them.
Yeah. I'd set it up and I'd say, hey, hi, my name is Jason Bailey, and I do a podcast, and we occasionally talk about personal injury things. And you came across on a database of somebody that was in a car crash, and we'd like to get, your story.
You don't want to lie about it because that wouldn't be true. And if they find out, then just tell them the truth. Just say, hey, I run a podcast and my daughter was in a fender bender or whatever it is, and you were the thing. I'd like to get your story as to what happened.
Okay.
And they'll tell you to jump in a lake or not. But otherwise, if you start telling this thing, remember the truth, you don't have to remember it. It's just what it is. That's when you start lying and it starts snowballing. You got to remember, people ask questions.
Doc, you're killing
Now
it.
you've created something. I mean, arguably you could have defamed them. Anything, could come out. Just always be honest or say nothing. Those are my two mottos. I used to say in the old days, no fish ever gets caught by keeping its mouth shut. So 2 things to every client, shut up and don't say anything or tell the truth. Otherwise it's not going to work out well.
Yeah, but like even in your line of work, right? I mean, you are one of, if not the best defense attorney in the country. Okay. You've had high profile clients, athletes, politicians. I mean, you've run the gamut. You've been on, people have seen you on national television. I mean, you're the man. When you have a client that is lying, like, where's the line that you draw? Do you go to them and say, hey, look, I know you're lying. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. I can't represent you. Or whatever oath you took, do you have to represent them and find a way to represent them, even though it's based off of lies?
They can lie to me all they want. I can't allow them to lie under oath is the issue. And generally it doesn't go well if they want to do that. I've had to withdraw from cases where the person said, I'm going to say I didn't find the gun or I didn't do this. And I get out of the case and said, you take it up with some other lawyer. And that's how it goes. But for us, I always tell people there's no reason to lie to the lawyer that you're paying for. If they do, that's fine. It's just going to screw up the case when we get there. But we cannot affirmatively let them under oath make a false statement. It's just not allowed, and we have to withdraw from the case if that's what's happening.
So you lose money when that happens.
Yeah, but my dignity and my reputation is far more important than money. I mean, I want to help people the best that I can, but if they're not going to tell me the truth, I'm not going to spoil myself just to, save somebody that's trying to undermine the case.
See, that's a good. I mean, I expected that answer, but that's what you're supposed to do. You have ethics. You have morals. These people.
Well, I wouldn't be here if I was one of those other people, right? I mean, you'd see me on a billboard or something. It's just not how we do things. People pay us a shitload of money, give us this great story, and we'll work around it. And generally, we can work it out in your favor.
But there are attorneys. I mean, there's people in every business, right, that don't have any ethics, don't have any morals. I would say maybe even the younger generation. They just they see a meal ticket, they grab it, they take it, they run, and they're like, I can sleep at night, it's fine, and they justify it, however, and they move on with their lives.
Well, we're people, but I think you and Chuck will both agree, and I think all your people that are watching when they see the show will agree. Lying is almost intuitive to us as human nature. Like even when you're a little kid, hey, little Johnny, I caught you doing this. No, you didn't. Or did you eat all the cake? The first thing is no. I mean, inherently, just sometimes you even think about the dumb stuff. If your wife asks you a question, you almost kind of lie, even about the dumbest stuff. It just seems like a human nature type situation. I hope you guys can understand what I mean, starting from little kid stuff, or even if a cop comes over. Why'd I pull you over? I don't know, officer. Well, sure you know. But almost inherently, the first gut reaction is get out of trouble, get out of trouble, get out of trouble. Would you agree with me on that one, Chuck, or are you perplexed, or am I going too far?
No, I agree. I think Jason's just looking more for retaliation, and he doesn't really care about the honesty part of it.
That's what Beal was.
But I do agree with Manny. I wouldn't be so mad at the individual as I would the actual attorney. And I think if you're trying to find retaliation, that's where you go. So when you're asking Manny, like, is it okay for you to bring this person on the show? What about the actual law firm? And maybe talk to them and maybe ask them the questions, because they're the ones that are doing this to you, not this person. This person made a stupid phone call because they saw a commercial. And the attorneys were like, oh, yeah, we'll help you out. We'll do it. That's who you should be pissed at, not the person.
I get it. And yes, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it started with her. And just knowing that type of person, how that type of person was described, I could see it coming a mile away. And I mean, you could look, if you had 10 people in front of you, you could pick that person out. You know, it's just, there's a certain.
Right, but Jason, like, let's say they're an older person and they've got a really bad back issue, even at 2 miles an hour, maybe something loosened up, and the next day, you know, how much dumb stuff have you done? And the next day you start feeling the soreness. So you should be mad at the doctors that gave them the report saying, yeah, there was a serious issue or whatever, which then goes to the lawyer's office, which causes even more problems, kind of thing. You know, everybody just, they could have done it all in good faith, or they could be a crook, you know, just trying to scam the system. And they've got one of those billboard doctors that says 1-800-PAIN, go there, and they're connected to some lawyers. So yeah, I would talk to them if you really want to know, and just say, is it a legit something where what you have with what's called an eggshell plaintiff, that they just have some, you know, bizarre thing where if I just come up and push you in the shoulder, it could screw something up, you know, something that simple, or maybe they aren't ethics and morals and all that kind of stuff. So, and then there's a lot of people that enable that behavior, the doctors and the lawyers. So you have a lot of anger to go around.
Well, and I got plenty of it. Well, but let me tell you, something you said earlier is I was not that person. Even as a kid, is I learned at a very young age that my whole thing, and still even to this day, I mean, probably why I find myself in certain situations, is I find that when you're honest, you feel better. One, you know, you're always going to get caught in a lie. No matter what, you're going to get caught in a lie. It's just pointless. It's just too much work. But I found that my whole thing, my whole life is getting a reaction from someone. I love people's honest reaction, good, bad, indifferent. I love it. Even as a little kid, 8 years old, going into Kitty City, I'd see an employee walk up and down the aisle, and he would always go to the grownups, ask them if they needed help, never me. So I would go to the manager of the store and I'd say, excuse me, sir, I was over in aisle 4 looking at the G.I. Joe figures. I've got a wallet with $14 in there, and I want to buy one of those action figures, and I can't find it. Your employee didn't ask me if I needed help, but he asked them if they needed help. Is there a reason for that? At 8 years old, I was doing that.
You actually did that.
Oh, numerous times.
He's that kid there. There you go. There you go.
Ask my mother numerous times, because I learned at a young age I would get a reaction, but I was doing nothing wrong. And that's the thing. If you're not doing anything wrong and you are right, there is right and there is wrong. I was not wrong, right? The guy did not ask me for help. That is wrong. I was right.
Do you really need help with a G.I. Joe doll?
Well,
I mean, there's only like 10 different kinds or whatever. Pick one.
The original, I think there was 10 or 12 in the original run, and they're not dolls, they're action figures. And they got more advanced later down the road when they got swivel action grip. But sometimes I couldn't reach, or maybe they had some in the back, or they got a new shipment in. There's a bunch of different variables. Not the point. The point is he didn't ask me if I needed help. That's what pissed me off. So I would get an honest reaction. So I have always told the truth. Always. I've been a very truthful person in my life. I mean, I know I've lied. I'm sure I have. I'm not saying that I've never lied or never stretched the truth or played the game or whatever the case may be, but I've always been honest. And that's what gets me in trouble, is when I'm honest. And that's why I'm not cut out for the corporate world. My last job, I was too honest, right? I told the guy that was my program director, I told him that he was weak. I told him he wasn't good at his job. I said, and I told him people don't like you. I told him you're a sociopath. All those things are true. So why am I the bad guy when I'm just telling him the truth? And
that's true to you. His wife and other people might feel otherwise, or the management staff might feel otherwise. I mean, there's the truth, and then there's being a dick, even if it's true. Sometimes I fight with my family about that, where they say, I'm not being mean, I'm just being honest. Like, it doesn't need to be said. You can say it a nicer way. I mean, you're a freaking personality. That's what a major podcast kind of thing. Just learn some tact. That doesn't make you less truthful. Well, I don't have to get in face and say, hey, your sweatshirt looks stupid. It may be honest, but there's no need to say that.
No, and you're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you. Maybe that was a bad example because I put it into a quick kind of comment. it was all in conversation. I mean, I would never just bust out and tell the guy he was a sociopath. You know, there was.
Well, how does that ever end well? I mean, how does that's like telling people to calm down when they're freaking out? It just doesn't really seem to end well. I mean, you got to find better ways to deal with it. I mean, with your stature, you're the talent. You got to game it a little bit.
I see. I'm going to disagree with you on that. That's where you get into the conversation of we live in a weak society. People can't handle the truth. They always say they want the truth, but they can't handle the truth. That's why we're not being told about UFOs. Of course aliens exist, but we can't handle the truth. That's why we're lied to.
Well, that's a fact. It's calling somebody a sociopath is your opinion of it. I mean, if there was some objective way to say it, I would 100% back you up, but that's just an opinion. There's an opinion, and then there's truth, right? It's not like the George Costanza method. If you believe it, it must be, it's not lying or something like that, right? What was the quote, Chuck? I'm sure you remember that. We say, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah.
But it's subjective.
Okay.
You can't.
No. This is okay, Mr. Attorney. You want to debate? Get in the ring. Let's go.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
So, any music to start this with?
Yeah. There we go.
Bradley's in a ghetto.
All right. Sociopath is a mental health condition in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong, true, fact, and ignores the rights and feelings of others. Fact. That is fact. So if these are all facts and that was fact, why couldn't I tell that person that they were a sociopath?
But that's asked to you that he's not being nice the way you see it. But at the same point, he's the boss and you can't always be nice about stuff as far as that goes.
Behaviors typically involve a person being unconcerned with the emotional safety of themselves or others. Fact. And
didn't you just do that to the G.I. Joe doll guy when you just went up there and said he didn't do this? Arguably, you might have gotten him fired and you didn't care because he didn't ask you in a nice way that, hey, do you need a doll? I'm sorry, an action figure, or if it's in the back.
No, of course I did not want to get him fired. If anything, that was on the job training, constructive criticism. Unconcerned with the emotional safety of others, themselves or others, and a disinterest in following societal norms. All fact on this one person. A couple people I know are like this. You know, like, and that's the other thing is like, if you're a sociopath, that's not a bad thing. At least you know what you are. Like, if you're fat, you're fat. I don't know why people get so upset about that. It's not a negative. I don't know why it's negative. You're fat. You made yourself fat, or however you got fat. You're fat. That's what you are. Like,
that's not a societal norm to tell fat people they're fat. It's going around and saying, "Hey, you're ugly." I mean, that's just your opinion.
That well, ugly is different. That is opinion. I did not say ugly. That is definitely an opinion. Fat is
what's fat? If I'm a fat person, and is somebody a little less fat than me not fat, or do they have to be more fat than me? I mean,
no, there's like
it just seems like a non-societal norm. It seems like you don't care about their emotional thing, which sounds like the sociopathic definition that you're just going on. Hey, you fat fuck, or hey, you're this, or
no,
hey, stretch, or tiny, or whatever you want to call them. Or
do you know what a short person is? Have you ever seen a short person?
I know you can't say they're midgets anymore, so I'm not sure what the term is now.
Well, I mean, have you seen a short person?
Like at the store and stuff? Yes, I don't see them often, but I've seen.
Okay, and you looked at them and said they're short, right?
Well, I didn't go up to him and say, "Hey, half pint," or can I put a drink on your head or something like that. I mean, it's true, but you don't say that.
But
I think it. I may not have said it.
Okay, but
I mean, it's stating the obvious. It's like a Captain Obvious situation. Why would I have to say it?
Exactly, stating the obvious. Same with a fat person. You see a fat person, you go, "That's a fact." Right? I mean, somebody that's 500 pounds, they're fat. Okay.
Right. So what's the cutoff for a fat? I mean, Chuck's fat may not be my fat. So
it's like we all have fat R, right? Where we can just gauge it, where we just know, and look, like I'm not in the best shape of my life. And you know what? I've had people come up to me and go, "Man, I thought you work out a lot," like that. You know what that does? That doesn't make me angry at them. If anything, I'm thankful for them because they just told me something that I could not see, and most of the time that's the case. So what does that make me want to do? Get in the gym, and go harder, do something. I got to lose weight because that person's comment, 1 times 10, 10 times 100. And so maybe I just look at things differently, you know?
I would say so. Don't say that in normal word. Like, go to my employees. Hey, I think you should work out more because you're getting a little love handle action here or something like that. I don't just. It may be true, but you just don't say it. Chuck, you're just sitting there smiling. I mean, come on, help me out here. We're getting down
No,
to the
I think
level. You don't say that kind of stuff. People.
I think it's funny because he said that you look at them and they're just a fat.
It sounds like I'm in a Trump speech kind of thing. We're going to make fun of something else. It's not going to go well.
I think it's like with the old question, right? Like at what age are we old? And when
If you ask my daughter, I'm old as hell. I mean,
exactly.
She's 23 and I'm old.
Exactly, man. When you're 5, 30's old. When you're 20, 30's old or 40's old. And then when you turn 70, you're like, man, when I hit 90, so it's all relative. We all have different worldviews. We all have different feelings and the way of, our backgrounds, our history. But to Jason's credit, I very rarely like will say that. But to Jason's credit, I mean, we all do know when we see somebody that's fat. Like you just like we do a fat R, I think he called it.
Sure, but do you have to say it out loud to them? If somebody came up to me and said, "Hey,
no,
on TV you look like you work out more," I was like, that doesn't motivate me. I'm like, well, F yourself,
No,
yeah, you don't tell.
You're missing the point with that. First off, I would never say that to you, even though I don't think horizontal stripes are good. But what I would say, I'm just kidding. You're missing the point of when you say these things. You don't go up to a total stranger and say that. That's couth. That's the tact you're talking about, right? You don't do that.
You say that to your wife, like, "Hey, I just got us a Peloton. I wonder why."
Now, if my wife came to me and said, "Hey, I'm feeling heavy," and she looks like she's gotten heavier, I would say, well, there's a reason for that. You've put on weight. That's fact. She's opened the door for me to do that. And if anything, she's going to, maybe not that day, but the next day or the week or possibly down the road, she will thank me for being honest with her. And you know why? Because
no.
Honestly,
I know you've been married for a long time, Jason, but there's no right answer to that. It's like saying it's like, "Hey, I feel heavier." No shit, you fat fuck. I mean, it doesn't.
Here's something.
I'm waiting for that thankfulness because I'd want to do it many times. But
here's something I just learned about you two that you don't have that I have. Honesty equals love. And my wife knows if I'm honest with her about that, that means I love her. If I lie to her about that and let her continue to be unhealthy, then I don't love her. You two don't love your wives like I love my wife.
There's absolutely zero truth in that at all. There's no way. There's no way you would tell Rachel that. No. Have you ever told Rachel that?
I have before. Absolutely.
That she was gaining weight.
Again, it's in conversation. I just don't bust out of the gates and be like, "Hey,
there's no nice way to say that stuff, man." When people ask you, "What do you think of my rear end?" It's just stay silent. Just say, "It's fine."
Why would
Because it hurts people's feelings. You don't think they know? Of course they know.
They need
you telling them that you need to work out more doesn't really help anything. In the real world that I live in, I wish we could get some viewer responses like live to say, "Are you insane?" As much as I like the show, are you insane?
Yeah. Well,
Chuck, go ahead and tell your wife right now. I'm sure she's there in the hotel somewhere. Then, "Hey, it looks like you're getting heavy, but I'm doing this for your own good."
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Nope.
You ever buy your wife a gym membership for Christmas or something like that?
Nope. My wife wanted a Peloton one year, and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it, but it's not because you need it, and it's not because I think you should use it, but I'll get it." And I did, and she uses it.
That's a lie. You wanted to get it to her because she was gaining weight. You told me.
No, you're such a liar, dude. You're so stupid. You don't ever.
I wouldn't mind doing the Peloton too. I mean, it'd be fun. Have you seen the instructors on the Peloton? Oh my God.
Yeah, they're pretty hot.
Remember the joke? You were like, "I'm going to get my wife the Peloton."
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. No.
She calls it Peloton. Remember that was the fat joke you made? It's really funny.
So stupid. I'm not even, nope, not jumping on this one. Nope. You You're saying all this because you want us to believe that you would tell Rachel this out of love, but we know the truth. We know the truth because you're happily married. You're happy. You're in a loving relationship. You would never do that.
You're right. And I
Plus, he's just doing it to get a reaction out of us. You know, the whole thing
I know
when we
he
started
is.
this segment. It's just that.
No. This isn't bit. I'm telling you right now.
I'm sorry you didn't get your G.I. Joe doll. I apologize sincerely from the fat guy that didn't give it to you at the store that was working there.
Stop fucking calling it a doll, man. It's an action
I'm
figure.
sorry. The fat guy didn't give you the action figure.
He wasn't fat. The guy, I never said the guy was fat. You called him fat. The guy wasn't fat. I remember he was a young kid. I was a young kid, but he was a young guy, I have never called my wife fat, and nor would I. That's rude, But I mean, if she were fat, like I probably wouldn't be with her. But if she's gaining weight and she asks me,
hey, guys, ask him about a guy named David Lowell and watch Jason go off on that, because this is the kind of stuff he would do.
Who's David Lowell?
David Lowell and I have a lot in common. That's why we got along so well, because we're both honest people. We don't subscribe. You guys live in today's world, and that's cute, and I understand that. You want to get along, and you want to do the stuff, and you want to make sure everybody feels good, and all those types of things. But I live in a different world. I believe, and it's probably, and you guys are right, and I'm wrong. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to argue that point. I wish that I weren't like this. I wish that I could play the game. I wish that I could lie to people. If I could lie to people, I'd still be in corporate radio. I would still be like, oh, today's show sucked, Jason, because blah, blah, blah. And everything they say is completely wrong. And I know it, not based off of me, but based off of radio in general. I wish that I could say, you know what? You're right. I did suck. And the show was horrible. And everything you said, even though you've never done what I do before, is correct. But I don't say those things. I then say you are a sociopath, because they're wrong. When people are wrong, no matter what they're, and the problem is the higher the status, the more wrong they get, because they feel like they can power trip and talk down to people and boss people around and bully them because they have that status. And nobody can stand up to them because everybody's terrified for their jobs, their lives, or whatever. And I just don't subscribe. I've always been like this, and
So those people wouldn't listen to you to say, hey, these are my thoughts, and we'd have sort of a discussion as a group to say how we can make the show better.
Let me tell you something. This is a true story. Everything I say is true, but this is a true story. So when I first got to Atlanta, and Steve and I start working together at the rock station, the first year was horrible, right? Now, I was put into a very awkward, uncomfortable, no-win situation. I was grandfathered a cast that, for the most part, hated each other, right? That prior show, the regular guys everybody hated each other, right? They always blamed it on the host guy, this Larry Wax guy. And I don't know the guy, and maybe so. I know nothing about him. I hear horrible things, but I don't know the guy. So I have no judgment on the guy. Never met him. And so, but I watched in real time how every day everything played out. And I was like plug and play. And that wasn't who I was or my style. And that wasn't the deal, right? It wasn't what we agreed upon, but not everybody was on the same page. So 6 months go by, and the show was suffering. The show is horrible. There's no chemistry, blah, blah, blah. And I say to myself, I'm like, this is not going to work. This is just not going to work. I get a phone call from the program director screaming at me, 22nd place. And I had not said a word for the first 6 months. I went in because I was trying to play the game. I just was happy to be there, happy to have a job, collecting a paycheck, and I was like, I'll let the higher ups, the people that, quote unquote, know everything, figure it out. So I kept my head down. And every day I was miserable, and I'm biting my tongue. I'm going, oh my God, this is so easily fixable. But I don't want to say anything because I don't want to rock the boat. That's what you guys are talking about. Why say it? It's going to be rude. Why would you say that about that person?
It's a nicer way to say it too, though, that it's just constructive.
No, it's not, because it doesn't get through. It takes, if you were to say it the way that you guys want things to be said, it takes 6, 12, 15, 20 months to get things done versus just fucking say it. No, the guy's not working out. The guy's a dick. The guy doesn't have any talent. Whatever the case may be, the guy's not a good fit. The chemistry's not there. However you want to say it, something's just got to be said. And I'm not talking about one person in particular. So for those listeners from Atlanta, don't go start spreading rumors. This is not about anybody in particular. I'm talking about this situation. So I get a phone call. I remember exactly where I was at. The program director screaming at me, saying, 22nd place. What the fuck are you going to do? This is how he's talking to me. What the fuck are you going to do? And fucking, this is our jobs. Fucking. I waited till he was done and I unloaded. And I had never unloaded like this guy had never seen this side of me before. And I said, first off, don't ever fucking talk to me like that. I go, second off, you guys put me in this fucking position where I have no say in anything. I'm the leader of the show. I'm the host of the show, but I can't act like it because of the way you want the show. You've got some dumbass over there wanting to call us the Rock Guys. So we trick listeners to think it was the old show that didn't even have that good of ratings anyway. Then you give us a generic name when you have a guy that's been in the market for over fucking 25 years. Are you crazy? Why would you not exploit that guy and his tenure in the market? You're nuts. All these things make sense. And I never said a word until that day. You know what happened? They finally listened to me that day. They took action quickly. And in 4 months, we were top 10. Because I was honest and I spoke my mind and I told them the truth. And that's where it gets you. And then we had a good 8-9 year run where we cashed bonus checks like crazy, because I was.
Sounds like you had some stupid leadership if they didn't know how to run a radio station. How are they in that management position?
But I mean, just in radio in general, that's most radio stations, not all, but most, but that's in most companies in general. You have people in positions that it's a lot of nepotism, right? You're being put into position because your buddy, hired you, you got there, something like that. But you've never done that guy's job. Like you've got the guy that's, the manager of the tire company, never changed a tire in his life, but he walks around the shop floor and he's telling, Bill, who's doing tires, how to do it just so he can put his thumbprint on being the manager of the tire shop. And that's not just in radio. That's across the board. That's every business. I just don't know how to play the game because the game doesn't fucking work. Now, I've seen people and I have friends that have played the game and they do exactly what you guys do. And I'm envious of them. I will be God's honest truth. I would give anything to be like those people. I really, really would. Have a job forever, get along. They just keep it inside because when they talk about it one-on-one outside of it, they're fucking miserable. And they open up, they're like, this guy's an asshole, but you don't see it. And that's the fake, phony baloney stuff. I just can't do it. I wish I could. I want to go to a hypnotism guy, have him hypnotize me to do it. Can't do it. Just doesn't work.
Can you be hypnotized? Have you ever tried that?
I've always chickened out. I've always been afraid.
Me too. I'm so scared. I'm so scared of being hypnotized.
Like one time in college, they were hypnotizing people and somebody tried to get me up there and I was like, I'm afraid like the rest of my life I'm going to live as a hot dog, and walk around with my hands down to my side and just wiggle back and forth like a penguin.
It's going to be like in Shallow awesome. Hal. You're going to see all those chicks and be like, all the fat ones you're going to think are skinny. Like,
wouldn't life be better if we just saw the positive in everything?
Right. That's what I need.
Maybe something.
If somebody can find me a hypnotism guy that can do that, I'll do that, But every time I try, it's not that I don't try. I've always tried. I've tried to do what you guys said. It never works out because like it gets like 3 or 4 months into it. And I always feel like people take advantage of it when they see that you're doing that. I can't find that middle of the road stuff. I'm not saying you're wrong. Look at you, Manny. You're Manny.
Look, I don't have a problem with you saying it. I'm just saying there's a way to say it. Plus, if you're new to the job, you can't just jump in on the first month and be that guy and say, all you guys are idiots, this or that. I think after 6 months, you've earned the right to say some of the things that you see because you've been in the culture and you've sort of figured it out. So I don't disagree. I just don't know if we all need to be so super confrontational if people actually know what they're doing.
Oh,
If they don't, you've hit the end of your rope, then okay, you don't lose your shit, but it's usually you that gets tagged for it as the problem then
yeah.
by these people.
Don't get it twisted. I am not a confrontational guy. I do not like confrontation. I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't want it, I should say.
I mean, come on, man. Like you, out of all the people I know, you're probably the most confrontational.
Why would you say that?
There's never a moment that goes by that, like, if I'm going to say something to you, I'm like, oh God, like, do I really want to tell him that I didn't check that email? You know, do I really want to tell him that I didn't check that text? Because you're going to be like, oh, really, man? Are you kidding me? I work with a bunch of idiots, you know, and it's like, sometimes you just got to let it go, man. That's why you have like high blood pressure and stuff, because you're so confident. Well, whatever you have, when you have you had like a heart attack.
AIDS.
I mean, AIDS too is, I think that you can't help but confront a problem head on, which sometimes is a good thing, but sometimes there's no reason for it. You're just causing stress.
Okay. You want? Okay, let's go. I'll take you on now too. Get in my ring. Here we go. Okay. So you say, because, and I'm not really confrontational with you, like you brought the email thing. So because of your incompetence, which
oh God,
my life harder, after I've done all of the work to send you an email or a text, jumping through hoops for you, and because you don't do anything regarding whatever that situation is, and I'm not naming one of them, but just in general. And then when I say something, I don't talk like that. It was like a weird tree thing. Oh. And because I say something back versus just ignore. Now, if I ignore it, then it doesn't exist. And then you don't know that you're wrong. It's my job. I've been put on this earth by the good Lord himself. You know, not all heroes wear capes. You know, some have dips in their mouths.
But usually you're not right.
But even if he isn't, he could just say it in a more constructive way. Like, hey, I know sometimes we overlook stuff. You get busy, it's whatever, but this is your job.
Nope.
And I need you to get on top of it. And then you escalate the issue if he misses it again.
No, man.
Versus, you're a dumb mofo. No. You hired him. What does that say about you?
No, Manny, you're wrong there. I've tried that, and I got made fun of by both him and Brandon. So,
but you hired them. If they're so stupid,
they're not stupid. I never said they were stupid. See, again, this is something that we have to discuss. When I say idiot, most of the time, not all the time, it's an act of love, right? I say it as like somebody would say spaghetti or car. Like,
I'm gonna take him to court. Judge, you're a fucking idiot, but I'm saying it with love.
Now,
can I just say respectfully up front?
Yeah, so it's just terminology, you know, like I love Chuck. I think the world of Chuck. I think the guy's great. Like, I mean, I would touch his
who doesn't love an idiot, right? That's
right.
You know, Manny, he's never said this to me before, so
I just complimented you last episode with the audio. I was like, I appreciate everything you do. And
bullshit. Bullshit. Manny, last episode, I did an interview over near London, outside of London, and he stopped it every 5 seconds and was like, okay, yeah, because you're an idiot, and that's why you said that. And then he'd play 10 seconds of it. He'd be like, oh, yep, there's Chuck being a dumbass again. And then he stopped it every 10 seconds to criticize and tear me down. So don't listen.
But it was done with love, Chuck. It was done with love.
Yeah. I'm glad he brought this up. Yeah.
These are, if there's ever a time to subscribe to this podcast, because I know you freebies are getting Freebae episode, you subscribe just to go back to yesterday's released episode and listen to that conversation. Now, let me explain something to you, because you're a radio person. I did that, and that's how I would do it on the radio too. Even with my audio, I would do the same thing. That's just how I do that kind of audio. I'm not going to play 3 minutes of Chuck and some European guy because it's boring. It's monotonous. So you have to do that. That's what this business is. You don't know that. I do. That's why I do it. I didn't do that to be.
Did you just hear that right there? Manny, did you hear that shot?
It's
Yeah, I
not.
thought you were a co-host, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know that because you're an idiot, but
Why are you here and why did I hire you? What's your job?
I didn't say idiot. I just said this. I've been doing this for 30. If I, you've been flying. What did you do? You flew plane. Your Coast Guard. What'd you do?
he doesn't even know what I did. You know, how many times have we talked about this and you still don't know?
Air Force.
God,
But you didn't ever.
so hurtful.
You didn't fly a plane though, right?
No, I was OSI. I was a criminal investigator.
That's right. Okay. I would never come to, well, maybe in that one, but I would, if you came to me and told me about criminal investigation and stuff, which is way cool, I would be like, dude, I think that's awesome. I would take your lead. I would learn from you. And if you called me an idiot for something I said, I'd be like, probably, because Chuck knows he's an OSCC.
But you know what? If you showed up to my house and you were like, hey, I witnessed a crime and I took some pictures of what I witnessed and you showed them to me, I wouldn't be like, oh, damn it, Jason, you took these pictures and you didn't use the right light. You didn't use an evidence tag. You didn't put a number next to it. You didn't use an evidence log. What are you doing?
Idiot.
Like, why would you? No, I'd be like, no, I would. I would be like, I'd be like, good job.
No, you should call me. That's how I.
It's not an idiot issue. You just, hey,
no,
what you need to do is this, and this, like in a structural setting. That's like going
I don't
to school and class and not knowing the material when
No.
the teacher's trying to teach you. It's Chuck's job to then explain it to you and say it. And then you get progressively more severe as if it gets repeated.
snooze.
But the first time should be a learning experience.
No, I want you to
Ah.
call me an idiot. You should. And I would take it. I'd be like, you know what? You're right. I am. But
But
it's
most
not-
people behave that way when they're called names. Right? They don't fight back or shut down.
no, and that's what
They
I'm
say gracias.
that's what I'm trying to explain is that I don't use the term like that. Like when I say that, I don't mean it demeaning, like to people that I love. Like I love Chuck. When I call him, like I call my wife an idiot, I call me an idiot. I probably call myself an idiot more than anybody. Just the other day, I did something. I was like, oh, what an idiot. It's just a term. Like when people will go, oh man, that's gay. Like, and now it's, Vince Vaughn did it in a
I
movie.
want you to go back on your dictionary app and look up idiot. Maybe you should find another word in that loving way that you want to help make people better because it could be misunderstood.
There are definitions for different definitions that aren't in Merriam-Webster that mean different things to different people. That's what I'm trying to explain is that the way that I use certain terminology might not be the way that you guys are receiving it. And in that case, I apologize. That is my fault. But I thought, at least with us three, the three amigos, the three best friends I've ever had, right, that you guys would understand, like, Jason's different. Dave Lowe, different, right? Manny, you're different. You're an odd cat, dude. Let me tell you. But we love you for that. Chuck is kind of a fucking weirdo, but we love him for that, right? That's because we're all different. We come together, kumbaya. But I'm different too. And you guys have to learn. I think you guys, and I say this respectfully, I think you guys need to take a step back and try to be a little bit more open-minded about other people and how they are and how they feel. That's all I'm saying.
We've known each other long enough to understand all that stuff. I'm just talking about when you're talking to your boss after only being there 6 months and you say stuff like that, it doesn't quite come across the same way versus.
No, but I knew him for years. Let's not even go there. That's a whole different story. I don't appreciate being ganged up on and bullied. And that's what you guys are doing to me right now.
We're helping you out of love.
Okay.
Jason.
And don't act like you've never been ganged up on.
Should we get Brandon on here and just gang up on him? He won't even understand it.
It was when I had that, was it break free loop?
Anybody know a plumber? I got some pipes that need loosened.
Need a hacksaw. Anyway, all right. I didn't even plan on having that conversation. It was a good conversation though. I'm glad we got somewhere. Did we get somewhere? Thank you guys for all the help, by the way. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I just learned that you're good. He's gonna continue to tear us down every chance he gets. That's what I learned.
That is not,
but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. Well, next time he's like, dude, you're such an idiot. I'll be like, thank you, Jason. I love you too.
All I know is I'm going out there with a hacksaw. I'm going to try this whole 45-degree thing because I don't know shit about that hose. I want to see if that works. I don't even know if I have a screwdriver and a hacksaw and a whatever
You know,
jerk off wrench it is, the motion that we're doing. See if that works.
yeah,
I just want to, that'd be awesome.
yeah. If you have a jerk off wrench, don't tell anybody.
No, sell that thing, patent it.
Chuck needs it to drive in Europe.
Dude, yeah. Lem- yeah.
You want me to send you the link to the Tom the Plumber guy? It'll walk you through it.
I can look it up now that you've told us.
You have a hose
Like
that
Bob,
ticket? Do you have a hose?
yeah, of course, around the house you have multiple
No. That
hoses.
won't,
I just want to put one on to try it. It's not that it won't come on. I just want to try that, see if I can do it off that way.
well, it's. I mean, it helps if it won't come off. I mean, just because when you're doing the hacksaw, it's going to start to screw off. So it's you might want to put an all call out in your neighborhood and see if anybody's got a hose that won't come off.
Yeah, I could, or I could just get the reverse loosen spray stuff from the Home Depot and it'll tighten it up and we'll try it that way.
There you go. You glue one on.
Gorilla glue. I'm just gonna Gorilla glue that shit on there and then I'm gonna try. I have to try the hacksaw before the next episode just to see if it works.
What did you listen? What
If I'm missing a finger, maybe I could sue you, right? I'll call Morgan and Morgan and say, hey, sue Jason Bailey because he told me to
what
cut my hose.
I
Lost a finger.
what did I tell you about the hacksaw thing? What was the most important thing? What did I tell you?
Do it loosely.
No. 45-degree angle.
40 and don't cut all the way through to the threads.
There you go. Don't cut the thread. I'll send you a link to the Tom the Plumber video guy. It was good. It was great. I did it. It was pretty cool. It was neat. You guys got to come down and visit, and I'll show you the hose and everything.
I'm ready for the fall show. I'm very excited about that because I need to hear Brandon sing
Yeah.
and have a good time.
Oh, did I play the other versions for you, Manny? You probably haven't heard those, have you?
I've only heard the one really interesting version.
Yeah. Here's
But do I get drinks for free as a guest star or something in the show? Because I want to get lit up when we're having that. Because like, to listen to that music, it's gonna be interesting.
I'll buy you drinks all night. I'll put it on my credit card now. Here's another version. This is the hip hop version.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many drugs, see the stars all day long. Right.
What do you think of that version?
That's way better than the other one.
That's AI. I had AI do that one. Here's this is like
That's really good.
this is like a piano rock version.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many drugs. See the stars all day long. Geeked right now.
What do you think of that version?
The AI is much better. I think it's just Brandon's voice is so bad. I mean, this actually sounds better with the music. I liked it.
All right, here's a country version. This is the one Brandon liked the most.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many drugs.
I like the line, I done took too many drugs. Did you like that version? Country version, Manny?
I did. I didn't like that one. It's just, I think it's just his voice is so off key compared to these AI voices. They're actually much better.
Yeah. So
And the music's much better.
he wants to do a country version. So Podcast Imports 3, October 12th, Tannery Row, Buford, Georgia. Distinct Grace, that's Chuck's band, is going to be headlining and playing like a 2-hour set. And if you've never seen Distinct Grace, I say this a million times over, and I will always say this about the guys. They are one of the best, if not the best, party bands you could ever go and watch. You know, right now, I think tickets are still $20. You're getting a steal. I mean, we're all going to be there. We're doing a live podcast thing. I'll be there. Brandon will be there. Manny's going to be there. We'll have a $1,000 cash and prizes, acoustic karaoke contest, special guests, so on and so forth. But just Distinct Grace in itself, worth the price of admission. So, and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna party. So Brandon's gonna get up on stage with Distinct Grace, and by the way, tickets at distinctgrace.com or thebaileyshow.com, and get up and perform. Chuck and the guys can play anything. So they're going to do a country version, but Chuck, it's your responsibility because you kind of started this. No, actually, you did start this. You are going to have to make sure Brandon gets on stage and give him some kind of country vibe that he's going to dig.
Oh yeah. We've already been working on it. We got it all taken care of. We're going to work with Brandon, and we'll be good to go.
All right, Manny, do you want to get on stage? Do you want to play with the guys?
I am not very musically inclined. I did the violin for a few years, but that was about it. But for Brandon, for God's sakes, please just put like some kind of giant filter on that microphone that makes it sound good.
You say, why don't you do
and I say that with love to Brandon, even though he's not here. I'm not calling him an idiot or his voice sucking, or is that a fact? And I can say that, Jason, what's the rule?
I don't know. I hear sarcasm. Yeah. A lot of it. Sarcasm is a sin. I mean, that's a deadly sin. Like, you're being a bully right now. Why don't you get up and sing I Fought the Law and the Law Won? That'd be funny.
Well, that would defeat the purpose of my reputation. And if the law won, then
how about breaking the law? Do some Judas Priest.
Sounds good. I could do that.
You could do Priest, right, Chuck?
Yeah, we do Judas Priest.
Okay, so do Breaking the Law and just have Manny do the chorus.
You gotta get one of those concert shirts with the sides that are cut open like we used to do in the 80s, so you could do all that.
So but
I just don't want you to call me fat because there's going to be a little bit extra on the sides, I'm sure.
Stop wearing horizontal lines and I won't. So can we confirm that Manny Aurora from the Aurora Law Firm will be at Podcast Emporium 3 and perform Breaking the Law by Judas Priest with Distinct Grace? Can we confirm that right here and now?
I will be there, but nobody wants to hear me sing because that would maybe cause a riot.
No, that's
and I will bring a couple of lawyers for free legal advice to whoever wants it out there. I'll have a couple of lawyers with me too.
No. You got to get up there. It's a party. Like, I mean, it's
not a karaoke bar, for God's sakes. Chuck's got a real band. They have a reputation.
They bring people up all the time. That's what makes them so great. It's like they can play around and I mean, look what Chad Kroeger just did with Nickelback. He toured the world and brought up total complete strangers to sing arguably their biggest song, Rockstar, on stage. And not just the chorus, the entire song he let them sing, which was nuts. I couldn't believe they did that. So if Nickelback can do it, no offense, but Distinct Grace can bring up Aura.
It's Nickelback.
I'm pretty sure.
No offense, Nickelback.
We did this episode with you, Manny. I was just saying because I didn't know if Chuck was going to be on, so you and I are going to do a show. So I don't really have a lot of questions for you, but I did get one from Lori, Lori Smith, and she's a big listener of the show. She has been for years. She says, my sister-in-law has 2 DUIs in 6 months. Will she lose her license Will she lose her license? And I have heard she may get at least 7 days of jail time. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
That's in Georgia then?
Yeah, I think Lori's in Georgia.
All right. So each time you get a DUI, there's a mandatory minimum jail sentence. On the first one, it's supposed to be 10 days. And the second one, it goes up. And in certain cases, the judge can reduce it based on what the facts are. But losing the license, there's 2 things that happen whenever there's a DUI. The DMV, which they call the DDS here in Georgia, attempts to take your license away administratively while the criminal case is going. And so those 2 have nothing to do with one another. So if she took the test, didn't take the test, whatever the underlying facts are, yes, it's very likely she could lose her right to drive. Depends on how long based on the facts of the case, but it could be a year, it could be more. But if you win, then it's not an issue. But again, driver license suspension is administrative from the DMV essentially, and the criminal cases over here. And all the different convictions have a mandatory amount of jail time that can be adjusted slightly based on the facts of the case by the court, or if you did a plea agreement that way. But ideally, her lawyer can get that reduced down to a reckless driving, and she wouldn't have that problem, because what they didn't ask in the question is her insurance is going to drop her, or it's going to go through the ceiling if you have 2 DUIs in 6 months.
Gotcha. There you go. All right, well, let's finish things up. TheBaileyShow.com. Give us a like, share, follow on all social media. It is a new site, revamped. Just a G, thank you so much for redoing the site. He is also now a part of Bailey Entertainment. So if you're looking for an SEO person and you would like to sponsor the show, all the shows, reach out to me, again, via TheBaileyShow.com. And if you are interested in SEO work, he can help you out there as well. All right, Chuck, you got anything before we get out?
Dude, I am going to finish my vacation here, and I can't wait to be back with you making fun of me every chance you get and being really loving by calling me an idiot.
Okay, that was very, very heartfelt. Okay, Manny. Manny, do you have anything before we get out?
I'm proud of Chuck. It's probably like 1 a.m. there, depending on where he is. So way to stay up and fight through this.
2 a.m, buddy. 2 a.m.
2 a.m. All right.
And it's thundering. I see thunder in the background.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Who's that big dude that just walked out of your room?
It was so weird. It wasn't out of my room, idiot. No, he just walked up behind me.
I think he's being facetious right now. That's all.
He gets a pass. Okay.
I don't know. That was creepy. I saw that too.
Yeah, he was like, see you later, Megan. Like, cheerio, man.
Put some salve on that, right? That's what he said.
Like, oh, I forgot my bottle of Break Free. Thanks for listening to the episode. This is a Freebae episode. If you like what you heard, we entertained you in the least bit, please subscribe and get all the episodes, including the 200 plus that are still on anywhere you get your podcast. But all the subscriber episodes are on Spotify, so you can go and lock those episodes, and you'll get the locked episodes in the future. It's just $4.99 a month, and you can subscribe right there on TheBaileyShow.com. It all goes to a great cause. So please support the show. Please support our sponsors like the Aurora Law Firm and the rest of our sponsors. We appreciate it. As always, until next time. Oh, hold on, because I got off my thing. I got to go back. Until next time. Hey, boy.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out TheBaileyShow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!" What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at TheBaileyShow.com. Yeah, baby.